Hey, you should be open to page 88 in your workbook, which is about multiplying rational numbers. So today we're going to be multiplying fractions, multiplying decimals, and multiplying positive and negative integers. So first, one thing you need to know is that when you multiply fractions, you actually don't need a common denominator. So here, if you take 2/3 times 3/4, 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 4 is 12, and then we always want to reduce. So we can reduce 6 over 12 to 1/2. You can also do cross-reducing, which they show you an example over here, but I will show you examples as well later. When you multiply decimals, you want to line up your numbers, not the decimals. So line up your numbers, multiply, and then figure out how many decimal places are on your first number, so 2, how many are on your first number, 1, so that's a total of 3. So they move their decimal over 3 spaces to get their answer. We will do more examples like that later as well. One thing you need to know, and this was in the video that you should have watched, if your signs are the same, so if signs are the same, your answer is positive. If your signs are different, then your answer is negative. I'm just going to put neg for negative. Okay, so they give us the problem they gave us earlier, 2/3 times 3/4, which they just multiplied straight across and reduced. But they want to know how can you do it before you multiply. And they are talking about cross-reducing, which some of you like to do. If you have 2/3 times 3/4, we want to look at the numbers diagonal from each other and see if I can reduce them. So 2 and 4 I can divide both by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 3 and 3 divide both by 3 to get 1 and 1. And then 1 times 1 is 1, and 1 times 2 is 2. So to explain that, you could say 2 goes into 2 and 4 to get 1 and 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2. And 3 goes into 3 and 3 once to get 1 and 1. Then multiply straight across. To get 1/2. Okay. On to page 89. Here they want us to use different properties. We've talked about distributive property before, but we haven't really talked about associative and commutative, which they're about to talk about. So it says Zahn is finding the value of the expression 8 times negative 1/3 times 4 times 6 times negative 1/4. Well, that sounds like a lot to do, which, yeah, it is, but there are little shortcuts to do it. So the first thing that they're going to do is the commutative property, which says that you can move stuff around if it's multiplication or addition, and everything will be okay. So they're going to move their negative 1/4 closer to the 8 and the 4 because 8 goes in, or 4 goes into 8 and 4 goes into 4. They're going to move their negative 1/3 closer to the 6 because 3 goes into 6 evenly. And you don't have to do it this way, just for some people it's helpful to do it mentally. Associative property says that you can group multiplication and addition together. So they are going to group negative 1/4 and 4 together since they have common factors of 4. And they're going to figure out, well, negative 1/4 times 4, so that's 4 over 1. You can multiply straight across or reduce. I'm going to reduce. So 4 goes into 4 evenly once. So negative 1 times 1 is negative 1. 1 times 1 is 1. So we get negative 1. And then they're going to use associative again to group the 6 and the negative 1/3 together since they have a common factor. So I do that off to the side. 6 times 1 times negative 1/3. This time I'm going to multiply straight across just so you see different ways. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. 1 times 3 is 3. Negative 6 divided by 3 is negative 2. And now I just have normal whole numbers. So first I'm going to group my negative 1 and my negative 2 together just because that's going to help me figure out my sign of my answer. So negative 1 times negative 2, Well, 1 times 2 is 2, and same sign, so it's positive. Then 8 times 2 is just 16. Okay, so I ran out of room, so I'm going to move down. But they want us to fill in some blanks about this problem. It says Zahn used the commutative property of multiplication and the associative property of multiplication to determine that problem, the answer was 16. So again, commutative just means you can move addition and multiplication around, and associative means you can group addition and multiplication. The next problem, I'm going to move down a little bit to see if I can get, okay, I can't completely get the problem, but I can get some of it. So it says a bakery has a recipe for oatmeal cookies that uses 2 2/3 cups of flour. One day it made 18 batches of cookies. How many cups of flour did the bakery use? So what multiplication expression, so we're going to use multiplication, it's going to be an expression, so no equal sign, gives the number of cups of flour used to make 18 batches of cookies. So we just take the number of batches of cookies, 18, times the number of cups of flour that we needed, so 2 2/3. They want us to rewrite 2 2/3 as a sum. Well, 2 plus 2/3 is the same thing as 2 2/3, so it's just each part separated. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. So you should be turning to page 90, please. On page 90 it says rewrite the expression for the number of cups of flour used as the product of a number and a sum. So we had 18 times 2 2/3, but we changed 2 2/3 to 2 plus 2/3. We did that on the previous page. Next, use the distributive property to complete these equations. So we had 18 times 2 2/3 from right here. So the distributive property just means we're going to multiply each thing by what's on the parentheses, so that's the thing. So we're going to do 18 times 2 and 18 times 2/3. So on the next line, they want me to rewrite it, 18 times 2 plus 18 times 2/3. Well, 18 times 2 is 36. Then I have 18 times 2/3, so 18 over 1, times 2/3. I'm going to cross reduce on this one. 18 and 3, I can divide both by 3 to get 6 and 1. 6 times 2 is 12. 1 times 1 is 1. 12 over 1 is 12. So 18 times 2/3 is actually 12. And then I'm going to do 36 plus 12, which is 48. So the bakery used 48 cups of flour to make 18 batches of oatmeal cookies. Okay, next problem. Every month, Bethany pays her car loan through automatic withdrawals from her bank account. She pays $250.75 per month. Use a multiplication expression, so no equal signs, and we're going to see multiplication, to represent how Bethany's bank account balance will change because of the car loan after 6 months. So first they want us to circle words that match up with what's going on. A withdrawal from a bank account is represented by a negative number because the bank account balance decreases. So withdrawal means you're taking money out, so that's a negative amount and your money's going down. The value of the amount the bank account changes each month is negative $250.75. So we determined it was negative because it was a withdrawal, so negative $250.75. The multiplication expression that represents how Bethany's bank account balance will change after 6 months is just 6 times the amount of money that's being taken out. After 6 months, Bethany's bank account will change. Well, 6 times negative $250.75 is going to give us negative $1,504.50. That's quite a bit of money taken out. Okay. Last 3 problems on this page. They just want us to multiply these. So I like to multiply and then figure out my sign. So 6 times 3 is 18. Same sign, so positive. 2 times 1.5. So 1.5 times 2. I like to put my longer number on top. 5 times 2 is 10. So 0, carry the 1. 2 times 1 is 2. Plus 1 is 3. There was one number after my decimal, so move your decimal over 1 place to get 3.0 or 3. Different signs, so it's negative. 1/4 times -16, so 1/4 times 16 over 1. I'm going to cross reduce on this one, divide both by 4 to get 1 and 4. 1 times 4 is 4, 1 times 1 is 1, 4 over 1 is 4. And then positive and a negative is a negative. Okay. Last page we are doing together, page 91. When Ada leaves for work, her house temperature is 72 degrees. The computerized thermostat is set so that the house temperature drops 1.5 degrees every 15 minutes for the next 2 hours. Write multiplication expression to represent how many degrees Fahrenheit the temperature changes in the 2 hours after she leaves. So to do this, we first need to figure out how many minutes or how many times is it going to drop. So 2 hours, that's going to give me 120 minutes because 2 times 60 is 120. And if it drops every 15 minutes, 120 divided by 15 is going to give me 8. So it's going to drop 8 times. So I'm going to take 8 times, and then I'm going to multiply it by how much it's dropping. So if it's dropping 1.5, that's -1.5. So 8 times -1.5. Part B, what is the total change in temperature in degrees Fahrenheit? So I'm going to multiply this. So 8 over 1 times, I'm going to turn this into an improper fraction. So 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Keep your denominator. 8 times 3 is 24. 1 times 2 is 2. 24 divided by 2 is 12. And I have a positive and a negative, so -12 degrees Fahrenheit, which makes sense because it's continuously dropping. Okay, number 2. Use properties of operations to find the following product. Show your work. So I'm going to figure out which numbers should I group together. So 1/4 and -24, they have a common factor of 4, so I'm going to put those together. And then -15 and -2/5 have a common factor of 5, so I'm going to move those together. So I'm going to do these two first. So 1/4 times -24 over 1. I'm going to cross reduce, divide both by 4. 1 times -6 is -6. 1 times 1 is 1. -6 over 1 is -6. Next I'm going to do -15 over 1 times -2/5. Again, and cross reduce. So divide both of these by 5 to get 1 and -3. -3 times -2 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. 6 over 1 is 6. Then I'm going to bring down this multiplication symbol. So now I'm just doing -6 times 6, which is -36. Okay. Last question. Multiply 0.3 by itself. What product do you get? Explain how you found your answer. Well, if we're doing 0.3 times 0.3, I know that 3 times 3 equals 9. And each number has one number after the decimal, which gives me a total of 2 numbers. So it gave me 2 numbers after the decimal because your first number, 0.3, has one number after the decimal, and times 0.3 has a number after the decimal, so that's a total of 2 numbers after the decimal. So move the decimal twice to the left. So I had 9. If I move my decimal twice to the left, 1, 2, I have a spot for a 0. So when we move it twice to the left, we get 0.09 or 0.09. Okay. So now you're going to do pages 92 through 94 on your own. If you have any questions, let me know. And when you are done, just put your book back where it goes in the classroom.